I'm ready, man. Let me hurry up and get it over with. Assalamu alaikum. Ramadan Mubarak. With the name of Almighty God Allah, the Lord of all the worlds, I bear witness that there is only one God. He has no partners, no deities, no idols, no sons, nothing. He is the Lord of all the worlds. He is the Lord of all systems of knowledge. We thank Allah for His mercy for all mankind. And that's Mohammed the Prophet. Peace and blessing upon him. We are here to honor, and why is Mohammed the best example for modern time as a leader today? How and what did God claim and created him as a mercy to all the worlds? He is a mercy. He is a mercy to all the worlds. Alhamdulillah. Today, we need a human being. We have gotten away what God called us. God called us a mortal human being. But the world have taken away what God said we are and started labeling us as Sunnis, Shiites, Ahmadiyas, all these different titles. But God said, I created you as a mortal human being. Our problems is not these different titles. Our problem is human problems. You are arguing over stuff that's not important. Let's argue what God say do. We are one humanity, one community, one love, united as oneness. And He has sent us Mohammed the Prophet of 1400 years ago as an example is what we as human beings supposed to be like. Don't you know that Muhammad is the conclusion of all the prophecies? Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessing upon him, is the conclusion for what God's plan for humanity. Why is Muhammad the prophet our prophet? We've been hitting and missing. But the Imam Muhammad said, why he's our prophet? Because he's a human being like you and I. A mortal human being like you and I. He came up as adopted. An orphan. He didn't know his father, Abdullah, or his mother, I think Fatima. Amina, yes, that's right. So he was an orphan. No one taught Muhammad. We are in that mindset. Don't you know, if we as African American, so-called American Negroes, if we look at our history, you will see a similarity. We were the people that brought over in this country over 400 years. We had no knowledge of our parents. We didn't know what country we was in. And look what God did. He took the people that's suffering, Imam Muhammad says, tried and tested us. For what, he says? To bring in a new mindset, a new spirit, a new heart, a new human being. He took that what everyone laughed and rejected it and criticized. Imam Muhammad crawled out to the Islamic world when he came in 1975. He said to you, you had Islam. You didn't bring it to the so-called American Negroes. But when he had Imam Don El Kareem called Deen on the radio, an African-American man, the world realized that somebody is waking these Negroes up. So he brought a man like Mohammed the prophet. Imam came in office in 1975. In 1975, he was first, before he even stepped into the mission, he had a meeting with all the imams across the country. And he was explaining to them. That's the year he adopted me as his son, in 1975, alhamdulillah. He said, you know, we should be like a big orchestra. Big orchestra. Playing one song, or one beat, following that baton. I grow now and I see what he meant. That was an example. He didn't say Muhammad at that time. We wasn't ready for that because we're still following Elijah Muhammad at the time. But he was referring to Muhammad the prophet. We should come together. Let's follow Muhammad the prophet, God's last prophet and his messenger. I look at the sheet with 12 leaders across the country. And I say, in one topic, what is that topic? Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessing upon him, the leader for the modern day time. Awesome title. That's why the 12 come across the country now to voice our opinion and show the support for Muhammad the prophet. And we wouldn't have got here without Imam Deen Muhammad. He the one that set us on the course. And he told us, he said in 1975, he said, look, he said, I made you all too spiritual. He started talking about the man in the masjid praying and fasting. And they told the prophet, peace and blessings upon him, but they told the prophet, said, we know a man that's praying and fasting in the masjid. And the prophet, peace and blessings upon him, said, who's taking care of him? And they said, we are. He said, you're a better man than him. Why am I telling you this? We study the Quran, especially us leaders. But what is it after that? What do you do after that? You are supposed to go to work and reach out. Thank God for the Mosque cares. Mosque cares has he set up an example. So to show you, if you have a mosque, care for the people. Help the poor, help the needy, help the hungry. Don't just teach them Arabic and don't set example where the Quran has taught you how to act. That's what Muhammad the Prophet was about. Muhammad the Prophet, peace and blessing upon him. He took care of the poor, the needy, and the hungry. He fought for the rights of women. He worked. He was a messenger of God. He didn't say, well, I'm a messenger of God, his hand in his pocket. You do that, you do that. He got down and put bricks together himself to build his masjid. That's the sign that we as leaders are supposed to do. Where are we going to go if we don't do that? We cannot, we are trendsetters. Allah took the time to groom us, to prepare us for this day and time as a special people, establishing Islam. Islam was here, but Islam was all messed up until Imam Muhammad came in 1975 and established Islam. What I'm telling you is that we are the foresight, we are the trendsetter to establish Islam in America. You don't have no people. Those are God's servants, and they are yours and my brothers and sisters. preachers in the church are messed up because they claiming their flock. They call their flock are my sheep. God said, no, they are your brothers and sisters. They are my servants. When we as Muslims, as following in this community, al-Islam under Imam Muhammad, we must teach this religion and we must practice this religion. How it's supposed to be. We want to establish a human life, a community life that represents Muhammad the Prophet 1,400 years ago. That's the role that we all are supposed to play. Once we get past those little titles, and imams and rabbis and sheikhs and all that, that's not important. Teach the people your message of God, because you are responsible for the words or the people that you represent. Imam Muhammad said, look, peace and blessing upon him, my dear brother. He said, you know, if I can teach you behind a veil, he said, I'll teach you. Because he knew you were going to put him on the cross like his father. You wanted to worship him. He didn't want that. He wanted you to worship Allah and Muhammad the Prophet as the blessing of God. He said, my father gave me empty vessels so that I can put something in you. And you see, the world, when he said, open up the windows of the nation of Islam, pull the shades, crack the windows, move the blinds off the street, or the windows. Let the sun shine in, because I'm here to establish al-Islam and Muhammad the Prophet. And we are not to be hiding anymore. That was a plan that God had for us, though. Preparing us for this day. Elijah Muhammad, may Allah be pleased with him, said that the one that come after me will teach you al-Islam. He said, take the Quran and put it up high. And the one that come after you will teach you. He said, Elijah Muhammad said, my job is to pull you out of the grave, out of the muck and the mire, and clean you up for the one that come after me. Think about it. We would worship a man, Farah Muhammad. He changed that. But he did it with a bloodless revolution, because we love the honorable Elijah's soul, Muhammad's soul. We did what honorable Elijah Muhammad wanted us to do, we did it. No question asked. And we say we give our life for the honorable Elijah Muhammad. Imam said, no, don't give your life. Don't give your life. Live, he says. Live this teaching. Practice this teaching. So tell us, take America and make it beautiful as it is with our religion, al-Islam. The religions, all the other religions are accepting this community, Imam Wallace Deen Muhammad's community. Don't be hoodwinked by the size of the crowd. The words that come out of this little small place is powerful. And it moves mind with people, scholars, and people with knowledge in every religion and stuff. They have to say, Imam Muhammad was the one. Imam Muhammad was my leader. He is my leader. And we look at him and knock him and criticize him. How does he work? And did for us to put us in the position that we are in. We're supposed to pick up the mantle and do what, and finish up what he started. Don't start taking the Quran and the Hadith and Muhammad the Prophet and use it for your own selfishness. God say, what I gave you, he said, give it to them. Help the poor, help the needy, help the weak. Help them, what I gave you. The same thing that I gave you, give it to them. It ain't yours. You can't be over something that's not yours. It is not even your knowledge that you have ain't even yours. So how can you claim something that ain't yours when we say Allahu Akbar? How can we say it? How can we claim that position when we're not? This is a road that us as Muslims and students of Imam Muhammad and the followers of Prophet Muhammad, this is what we're supposed to do. to establish this religion, al-Islam, community life, what he has started and what he has set us on a road to success. He said, you know what type of future I want. Give it to me. I gave my life to it. He said, if you teach what I gave my life to, he said. He said, you don't have to look for me. He said, I'll be there with you. And when they hear you, they say, I hear Imam Muhammad. They are pulling more people from our community, having them represent al-Islam now. I don't see a lot of Arabs on TV talking about Islam, but a lot of our people are from our community. In these big meetings. And I was at Iftar at the city mayor's thing. And I'm looking at, they don't respect us. They don't respect us. It was just a handful of blacks, my wife would tell you, in this whole room of Arabs and stuff. They don't even consider us. They don't even look at us. They don't even give you an invitation to come to their little party. I go to these interfaith groups, me and Elam, and I listen to how they talk. They talk about everybody but Muhammad. It's up to Jesus, and they guess nothing else. No one's after Jesus. But it's supposed to be an interfaith group. And I asked him, I said, why are we talking about this? I thought we was talking about how the religions they come together for the whole humanity. We have, but you know, that don't bother us. You know why? Because we know who God is. God's will must be done. He didn't go through all of this. He didn't send us through all these changes for a reason, without knowing our purpose. We are his people that's going to set his plan in motion to establish him, the Quran, and Muhammad the Prophet. And we thank Allah for Imam Muhammad because he is the example of how we should all be like, because he did his best. He gave his life to emulate Muhammad the Prophet. And that's what we should do. Working together as one ummah, like he said in 1975. Especially us leaders. Let us get together and support the cause and establish al-Islam and community life that reflect Muhammad the Prophet, a human being. You shouldn't get hung up on titles. I'm a Muslim, I'm a Jew or a Christian, so what? What do that mean? The Prophet said your character speaks. Actions speak louder than words. So we must look and study the Quran. The Quran means to read. Islam means submission to God, but it also means that religion means debt. We owe a debt to Allah. How do we know this? How do we know about the Quran? How do we know about the Quran and al-Islam if it wasn't for Muhammad the Prophet? That's why he's the model and leader for all mankind. We need to set the record straight. We went to South Korea, South Korea. I don't know what it is now. But one of them. And I'm looking at the whole humanity, all religious leaders all over the world. And they went into the religious titles. You know what their thing was? One God. And I said, man, Imam Muhammad prepared for us this for a long time. Even the little Chinese guy, the leader, he's speaking Imam Muhammad's language. Love one another. Come together as a human being. This is what he was saying over on the other side of the world. We are the trendsetter, like my brother say. We leading the way. People don't want to accept that. But Allah put this on us to do it. We are special people. We were chosen by God to be here today. You didn't have no choice in this matter, brothers and sisters. This is Allah's choice that we're all sitting here today. Look how How many people have been with you and where are they now? It's only a few, and it always been a few, Imam Muhammad says. You don't take a group, you looking for big groups and all that, that's fine. Elijah Muhammad was on the run, he saw some chairs and they said, you know, the apostle? Ain't nobody here, he said, speak to the chairs. You need to practice.